This car still sounds absolutely disgusting, but hopefully today we're taking a huge step in the right direction. We've got a brand new Tomei exhaust to install that I'll show you guys in a little bit. But before we get to that, there's something I want to take care of. When I first got this car, one of my main priorities was to figure out how much power it could make with full bolt-on. So I kind of just flew through the modification process, and now I'm backtracking a bit to find the perfect setup for me. A catless straight pipe setup might be ideal for someone that's trying to make the most power possible, but for me, I want to be able to drive this car every day and enjoy it, and that's just not the route that I want to take. So what we're actually going to be doing is tearing the JDL equal-link header that I have installed off and reinstalling the OEM header, because I want to quiet things down a little bit and also give you guys the opportunity to hear what this exhaust would sound like on an otherwise stock car, because let's face it, not everybody is going to be swapping out their header or front pipe, so it's nice to hear what the car would sound like with just an aftermarket catback exhaust. So let's go ahead, get this car up in the air and swap the header out. For those of you that are wondering, the reason why the stock hood is back on is because there was a little bit of a fitment issue with the Sabre design hood. So I'm working with them. They may be sending out a replacement, but I'll keep you guys updated once I get more information. Also, the reason why there's no front lip on the car is because I couldn't make it up my driveway with a lip installed without scraping. So last weekend, I actually worked on some prototype ramps to allow me to get out of the driveway with a lip installed. We'll test that out another time. Let's see how fast I can get this header off. Thankfully, when I installed this header, I knew I was going to be swapping parts on and off, so I didn't push the clip tree zip ties in all the way because they're a pain in the butt to pull off. Let me show you what I'm talking about. If you look down there right in the middle of the screen, you can see that clip tree that holds the O2 sensor harness in place onto the block. There's not a lot of room to try and get some sort of pick tool or flathead screwdriver behind that to pry it out. So what I did was just stick it in enough where it would hold it, because I knew I would have to pull these out again. All right, I've got the O2 sensors unplugged, so we're gonna go underneath the car, get the skid plate off, and we'll pull the header off. We've got the skid pan and the transmission under panel removed. There's gonna be a total of 6 14mm nuts that hold the header in place, 3 on each side. And I probably need to loosen the overpipe to front pipe as well, since the OEM header uses studs for the overpipe to header connection. But taking this off shouldn't be too bad at all. I just got to transfer the O2 sensors back into the OEM header and we'll be ready to put this thing back on. I've got the front pipe disconnected from the catback. That way I can pull it back so the overpipe is out of the way so we can get the header installed. I've got the stock header back on the car and everything put back together, so what I'm going to do is flip this car around so I have better access to the exhaust, and while I wait for the exhaust to cool down because we ran the car, we can open up our new exhaust. This is probably one of the most highly anticipated exhausts for this car. You guys are probably familiar with the Tomei Type 80 for the first gen. It was hugely popular, but not everybody loved the single exit look. So a lot of people were begging Tomei to make a dual exit version, and they've delivered. Let's take a look at what we've got inside. Some hardware, silencer, probably won't be needing that. And the two mufflers. Look at that. Let me get this stuff unwrapped, guys, and give you a closer look. It never ceases to amaze me how light titanium stuff is. It's ridiculous. Look at how beautiful that is. So Tomei just recently released two new exhausts for the GR86 and R.S.E. They're both compatible with the first gen as well, if you guys are curious. But the one I've opted for is the Type D dual exit exhaust. Just like the rest of their lineup, it's full titanium. It's 3.2-inch piping that splits into 3-inch piping. We've got the two mufflers, and then it ends with the 4.5-inch burnt titanium tips. This thing only weighs 24 pounds. I think the stock exhaust on the second gen weighs in at just over 35 pounds. So right off the bat, you're shedding over 10 pounds, and it's gonna look and sound a whole lot better. Now, if you wanna shed off even more weight, you're gonna wanna opt for the Type 80 version 2, which is essentially the same thing, except it's 3.2-inch piping all the way through, and it's a single exit over on the passenger's side. So if every pound matters, that's gonna be the route you're gonna wanna opt for. But since this isn't gonna be my race car, I wanted the dual exit version. So let's go ahead and get the old exhaust off the car and get the new guy installed. I got everything roughly installed. I just need to go in and fine-tune the fitment. You can see this side is hanging a little bit lower than that side, but I haven't done anything yet. So we're going to make sure everything's aligned how we want it, tighten the clamps down, get the springs installed, and then we can take this thing out for a drive. here are my first impressions of the exhaust. It has a lot more of a deep and throaty sound to it than I was expecting, because sometimes with titanium exhaust you get more of a tinny sound due to the thinner walls when compared to the stainless steel counterparts. But I think since this is a dual exit system with more material, that helps to cut down on that tinny sound and gives it that deeper tone. Personally, I think it sounds fantastic. It's not too loud when you're just cruising around, but it definitely livens things up when you step on the throttle. I didn't notice an obnoxious amount of drone when I was cruising at high speed. Obviously that can change if you start swapping headers and front pipes, but if you toss this exhaust on a car with a stock header and stock front pipe like I have, I think it's the perfect amount of exhaust noise. It's also absolutely beautiful. I love the 4.5-inch burnt titanium tips, and you can see the large mufflers or get a glimpse of the large mufflers underneath the bumper. It's a work of art, and I'm curious to hear what you guys think, so leave a comment down below with your thoughts. And if you guys want to pick up one of these for yourself, check out the link in the description. What I'm going to do is drive this car around for a couple weeks and then come back and do a more in-depth review, so I'm able to compare it with other exhausts that I've had on the car. So if you guys are interested in more content, definitely hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.